The Nectar of Devotion by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. Chapter 47. Compassion and Anger. When the ecstasy of devotional service produces some kind of lamentation in connection with Kṛṣṇa, it is called devotional service in compassion. The impetus of this devotional service is Kṛṣṇa's transcendental quality, form, and activities. In this ecstasy of devotional service, there are sometimes symptoms like regret, heavy breathing, crying, falling on the ground, and beating upon one's chest. Sometimes symptoms like laziness, frustration, defamation, humility, anxiety, moroseness, eagerness, restlessness, madness, death, forgetfulness, disease, and illusion are also visible. When in the heart of a devotee there is expectation of some mishap to Kṛṣṇa, it is called devotional service in bereavement. Such bereavement is another symptom of this devotional service in compassion. In Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th Canto, 16th Chapter, 13th Verse, there is the following description. When Kṛṣṇa was chastising the Kalyanag in the Yamuna, the big snake wrapped his coils all over Kṛṣṇa's body. And upon seeing Kṛṣṇa in this situation, all his dear cowherd friends became greatly disturbed. Out of bereavement, distress, and fearfulness, they became bewildered and began to fall on the ground. Because the cowherd boys were under the illusion that Kṛṣṇa could be in some mishap, their symptoms are not at all astonishing. They had dedicated their friendship, their possessions, their desires, and their very selves to Kṛṣṇa. When Kṛṣṇa entered the Yamuna River, which had become very poisonous from the presence of Kaliya, Mother Yasoda feared all kinds of mishaps, and she was breathing hotly. Tears from her eyes were soaking her clothes, and she was almost collapsing. Similarly, when the Shankasura demon was attacking Kṛṣṇa's queens one after another, Lord Baladev became more and more bluish. In the Hamsadutta, the following incident is described. The gopis requested Hamsadutta to search after the marks of Kṛṣṇa's lotus feet and to accept them as Lord Brahma had accepted them on his helmet, after he had stolen all Kṛṣṇa's cowherd boys. Regretting his challenge to Kṛṣṇa, Lord Brahma had bowed down before the Lord, and his helmet became marked with the footprints of Kṛṣṇa. The gopis reminded Hamsadutta that sometimes even the great sage Narada becomes very ecstatic by seeing these footprints, and sometimes great liberated sages also aspire to see them. You should therefore seek very enthusiastically to find the footprints of Kṛṣṇa, they urged. This is another instance of devotional service in compassion. There is an instance when Sahadev, the younger brother of Nakula, became greatly gladdened at seeing the effulgent glowing of Kṛṣṇa's footprints. He began to cry and call out, "Mother Madri, where are you now? Father Pandu, where are you now? I am very sorry that you are not here to see these footprints of Kṛṣṇa." This is another instance of devotional service in compassion. In such devotional service in compassion, there are sometimes smiling symptoms, but never is there any stress or lamentation. The basic principle of this compassion is always ecstatic love. The apprehension of some mishap to Kṛṣṇa or to his beloved queens, as exhibited by Baladev and Yudhisthira, has been explained above. This apprehension is not exactly due to their ignorance of the inconceivable potencies of Kṛṣṇa, but to their intense love for him. This kind of apprehension of some mishap to Kṛṣṇa first of all becomes manifested as an object of lamentation, but gradually it develops into such compassionate, loving ecstasy that it turns to another channel and gives transcendental pleasure. In the ecstatic loving service to Kṛṣṇa in anger, Kṛṣṇa is always the object. In Vidagdha Madhava, 2nd Canto, 53rd Verse, Lalita Gopi expressed her anger, which was caused by Kṛṣṇa, when she addressed Srimati Rādhārāṇī thus, "My dear friend, my inner desires have been polluted. Therefore, I shall go to the place of Yamaraj. But I am sorry to see that Kṛṣṇa has still not given up his smiling over cheating you. I do not know how you could repose all your loving propensities upon this lusty young boy from the neighborhood of the cowherds." After seeing Krishna, Charity sometimes said, "Oh, you thief of young girls' properties, I can distinctly see the covering garment of my daughter-in-law on your person." Then she cried very loudly, addressing all the residents of Vrindavan, to inform them that this son of King Nanda was setting fire to the household life of her daughter-in-law. Similar ecstatic love for Krishna in anger was expressed by Rohini Devi when she heard the roaring sound of the two falling Arjuna trees to which Krishna had been tied. The whole neighborhood proceeded immediately towards the place where the accident took place, and Rohini Devi took the opportunity to rebuke Mother Yashoda as follows. "You may be very expert in giving lessons to your son by binding him with rope, but don't you look to see if your son is in a dangerous spot? The trees are falling on the ground, and he is simply loitering there." This expression of Rohini Devi's anger towards Yashoda is an example of ecstatic love and anger caused by Krishna. Once, while Krishna was in the pasturing ground with his cowherd boys, his friends requested him to go to the Talavan forest, where Gardabasara, a disturbing demon in the shape of an ass, resided. The friends of Krishna wanted to eat the fruit from the forest trees, but they could not go because of fear of the demon. Thus they requested Krishna to go there and kill Gardabasara. After Krishna did this, they all returned home, and their report of the day's activity perturbed Mother Yashoda because Krishna had been sent alone into such danger in the Talavan forest. Thus she looked upon the boys with anger. This is another instance of anger on the part of a friend of Rādhārāṇī's. When Rādhārāṇī was dissatisfied with the behavior of Krishna and had stopped talking with him, Krishna was very sorry for Rādhārāṇī's great dissatisfaction, and in order to beg forgiveness, he fell down at her lotus feet. But even after this, Rādhārāṇī was not satisfied, and she did not talk with Krishna. At that time, one of her friends chastised her in the following words: "My dear friend, you are allowing yourself to be churned by the rod of dissatisfaction. So what can I say unto you? The only advice I can give you is that you had better leave this scene immediately, because your misbehavior is giving me too much pain. I cannot bear to see your behavior, because even though Krishna's peacock feather has touched your feet, you still appear to be red-faced." The above attitudes of dissatisfaction and anger in devotional service are called irshyu. When Uddhava was leaving Vrindavan, some of the elderly gopis rebuked him as follows: "O son of Gandhini, your cruelty is defaming the dynasty of King Yadu. You are taking Krishna away, keeping us in such pitiable condition without him. Now, even before you have left, the life air of all the gopis has practically disappeared." When Krishna was insulted by Shishupal in the assembly of the Rajasuya Yajna convened by Maharaj Yudhisthira, there was a great turmoil amongst the Pandavas and Kurus, including grandfather Bhishma. At that time, Nakula said, with great anger, "Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the nails of his toes are beautified by the light emanating from the jeweled helmets of the authorities of the Vedas. If he is derided by anyone, I declare herewith as a Pandava that I will kick his helmet with my left foot, and I will strike him with my arrows, which are as good as Yamadanda, the scepter of Yamaraj." This is an instance of ecstatic love for Krishna in anger. In such a transcendental angry mood, sometimes sarcastic remarks, unfavorable glances, and insulting words are exhibited. Sometimes there are other symptoms like rubbing the two hands, clacking the teeth, clamping the lips, moving the eyebrows, scratching the arms, lowering the head, breathing rapidly, uttering strong words, nodding the head, exhibiting yellowishness at the corner of the eyes, and exhibiting trembling lips. Sometimes the eyes turn red, and sometimes they fade. And there is sometimes chastisement and silence. All these symptoms of anger can be divided into two parts: constitutional and unconstitutional, or permanent and temporary symptoms. Sometimes great emotion, bewilderment, pride, frustration, illusion, impotence, jealousy, dexterity, Negligence and signs of hard labor are also manifest as unconstitutional symptoms. In all these humors of ecstatic love, the feeling of anger is accepted as the steady factor. When Jarasandha angrily attacked the city of Mathura, he looked at Krishna with sarcastic glances. At that time, Baladev took up his plow weapon and gazed upon Jarasandha with colored eyes. There is a statement in the Vidagdha Madhava wherein Srimati Rādhārāṇī, in an angry mood, addressed her mother Purnamasi after she had accused Rādhārāṇī of going to Krishna. "My dear mother," Radha declared, "what can I say to you? Krishna is so cruel that he often attacks me on the street, and if I want to cry out very loudly, this boy with a peacock feather on his head immediately covers my face so that I cannot cry. And if I want to go away from the scene because I am afraid of him, he will immediately spread his arms to block my path. If I piteously fall down at his feet, then this enemy of the Madhu demon, in an angry mood, bites my face. Mother, just try to understand my situation, and don't be unnecessarily angry with me. Instead, please tell me how I can save myself from these terrible attacks of Krishna." Sometimes, amongst contemporary personalities, there are signs of ecstasy and anger because of love for Krishna. An example of such anger was exhibited in the quarrel between Jatila and Mukura. Jatila was the mother-in-law of Rādhārāṇī, and Mukura was her great-grandmother. Both of them were talking about Krishna's unnecessary harassment of Rādhārāṇī when she was walking on the street. Jatila said, "You cruel-faced Mukura, by hearing your words, my heart feels like it is burning in a fire." And Mukura replied, "You sinful Jatila, by hearing your words, there is aching in my head. You cannot give any evidence that Krishna has attacked Rādhārāṇī, the daughter of my granddaughter, Kirtida." Once, when Rādhārāṇī was taking off the necklace given to her by Krishna, Jatila, her mother-in-law, told a friend, "My dear friend, just see the beautiful necklace that Krishna has presented to Rādhārāṇī. She is now holding it, but still she wants to tell us that she has no connection with Krishna. This girl's activities have disgraced our whole family." Natural jealousy of Krishna by persons like Shishupal cannot be accepted as ecstatic love and anger with Krishna.